Hello children, today's lesson is all about the new revolution sweeping the world, computers. Yes, we're going to find out how they work, what they do, and how they're going to influence your lives in the future. Let's get stuck in. Back in 1994, Intel launched a program in the United States and Canada called The Journey Inside the Computer. The aim of this program was to help bolster computer education in schools, both for teachers and students, in this rapidly changing era. To this end, 35,000 free kits were delivered to junior high and middle schools designed to expose children to this new technology, whilst also packing a nice dollop of Intel branding into these knowledge-hungry young minds. The kits were created in combination with the National Science Teachers Association, with each pack reported to be worth some $500.
And a colourful poster.
There were 3 core editions of the kit. When unpacked, the box of the first kit actually resembled a desktop PC and was supposed to aid in the discovery and learning process. The second kit, released in 1996, offered updated components and information. This is the third kit, released in early 1998, and it's the one I'm going to focus on today. Presented in this rather nice box with a carry handle, it's a rather sturdy portable affair. But then this is quite a substantial kit, so let's get inside. We find 3 bundles: the rather hefty teacher's guide, a box of videotapes, and the pièce de résistance, the chip kit. But let's go through them in order and work out what we can do here. This is all brand new, so everything is wrapped in a lovely film of protective cellophane. But get rid of that, and what we find is 2 distinct sections. The first contains 8 units, which are usually broken down into background information, teacher materials, a lesson plan, and a video-based guide. The background information eases into the section, often describing how history has arrived at this point, or the basics of the technology. The teacher materials provides an overview of the lesson, the goals and objectives, along with helpful resources. You've got to remember that most teachers, especially if they weren't a dedicated IT teacher, were probably quite new to computers as well. The video plan covers these elements in regard to the video content and offers experimentation guides, some of which you'll find in the videos. The second section at the back is a pack of gorgeous cellophane overhead projector sheets. Oh yes, this is truly the 90s. We'll explore these a bit more as we get into those visual guides. So what about those videos? Well, they're in this separate box, and we get 2 VHS tapes. The first is the student video, and as it says, it's designed to be used in conjunction with the teacher's guide, consisting of 8 segments approximately 9 to 10 minutes long, with each segment introducing key concepts of the corresponding unit and video lesson. Oh yes, look at that fresh VHS tape. There's a bit of bubbling on the label, but nothing we can't forgive. The teacher's introduction is everything you need to know to begin using the journey inside the computer. Follow along as we briefly walk you through the different elements in the kit and show you what it contains and how it is organised. I guess we should start here then. Let's dive into some VHS quality content. Oh yeah.
Technology is showing up in some of the most interesting places. In this video, I'll walk you through the different parts in the kit and show you what it contains and how it's organized. Dr. Irene Smith of the International Society for Technology and Education will join me. Together, Dr. Smith and I will suggest ways that you can adapt these materials to your own classroom.
This content was all produced by Design Media Inc., working alongside Intel out of San Francisco in 1997. Presented by Ricky Stevenson along with Dr. Irene Smith, we're guided through the kit and then the subsequent educational units, so we, as an educator, know what to do. Pretty straightforward.
We have resistors, capacitors, diodes.
The basics of how a computer works are also covered, so the teacher doesn't look like a complete plum in front of their students.
There's two special words. The computer uses the word and it also uses the word or. Okay. All right? You're going to select the ones that are white and three-legged.
We know these are white, but these are white and three-legged.
You're a very good computer, Ricky.
See? The video makes them feel like a plum instead. There's half an hour of this, so it's not highly detailed, but enough to kick things off.
Students love to just touch and feel, as you know.
After confirming that students like to touch several times, we can then bring this 30-minute presentation to a close and move on to the main video.
Your students are going to have fun in this unit.
Fascinating.
This is the students video, which takes a very different approach and is actually, well, it's quite compelling.
Hello and welcome to the journey inside the computer.
What's for the toaster?
Oh, well, good question. See, this toaster illustrates the four basic parts of the computer. Now, just like a computer at your home, the raw data goes in, the information gets stored, then this raw data gets processed, or in this case, toasted. Bam! The end result.
As well as many an analogy, there's an explanation of the first general-purpose computer, the ENIAC.
The first general-purpose computer was built in 1945. Data had to be entered by flipping switches and plugging wires. That computer, by the way, was called the Electronic Numerical Integrator and Calculator.
And various roving reporter segments by both Rebecca White and Brahman Turner, with Annette Chavez as the host. The video is divided into the same 8 units as the guidebook.
If you don't believe me, drag your feet as you walk across the carpet. Then reach out and touch something metal. Ow.
All sprinkled with wholesome 90s clothing and general aesthetic. So, we can see a circuit made on screen, for example.
Add electricity here, and the current flows. Take it away, and the switch is open.
Along with some clear and simple explanations of how transistors and semiconductors actually work.
Let's go over to the blue screen and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now, under normal conditions, silicon is non-conductive. But when you mix in different elements like boron or phosphorus, and then add electricity, silicon becomes conductive.
Or we can join Rebecca as she discusses binary.
Imagine what it would be like if we could pound out the bits as fast as a computer. And that's not even close to a computer's speed.
It's all pretty compelling, even the awkward parts.
And finally you get the big picture.
Exactly, and the big bucks.
Nice.
I hope so.
Ad-libbing at its finest. It's also interesting to see staff from Intel like Bonnie Cow, who had only been there a few years at this point, but over 20 years later is still working there, now as a senior director.
So what happens? You've got the ingot, and then how do you make the wafers?
What we do is we basically use a diamond saw and then slice the ingot into polished wafers.
What are the things I see on the top of the wafer?
We do a very specific processing steps to create patterns on these wafers.
You know, this is pretty interesting stuff. And look at all these computers with those chunky CRTs. Oh yes, I like it.
There's no more, oh, my dog ate it, or I left it at home, because it's supposed to be sitting right there on the network.
I wonder if this was the inspiration for those multicoloured MMX adverts, you know, the ones with multicoloured clean suits.
They're probably working on the next level of bunny suit, too. Well, I'm ready. I wonder if these will come in colors.
More likely it was just a reference to the adverts. The final unit, looking towards the future, has things like the connected car, featuring an early sat-nav.
I'm lost in San Francisco. What can this do for me?
If you're downtown, you can get a close-up of where you are downtown by saying, locate on map.
Oh, there I am.
With the style of screen we actually find in most cars today, but with the ability to close your garage door wherever you are by voice.
But listen.
Warning. Your garage door is open. Would you like it closed?
Say yes.
Yes.
Garage door secure.
You've just got to hope that no one was standing below that door when the order was issued. What we have is 70 minutes of this educational treasure, which in a classroom setting would typically be broken down into separate lessons. But you can imagine that for many schools, this video would serve as their sole computer education. If your school was anything like mine, then you'd probably watch this entire video in a single lesson, then never discuss it again. The teacher would probably just steal the rest of the kit and sell it in the weekly free ads magazine. But I'm sure some schools went all out and integrated the kit to accompany their own lessons in this area. So let's take another look at the guide along with some video content and that chip kit to see how it all ties together. Now this chip kit is really something else. So this entire kit is designed around the touching mentioned earlier, and so serves a number of purposes. The first being practical experimentation, so that we can see the effects mentioned in the guide in action. The second is to familiarise students with parts of the computer and how it comes together. But the third is simply that tangible aspect of touching, of viewing and holding these components, which can really help you connect to the reality and understand how incredible these parts are, and how even more incredible the whole of a computer is. For the experimentation side, we get a crap load of batteries. 6 C batteries, which all have an expiry date sometime in 1999, but they also have this rather appropriately named classic packaging, seemingly with a cat being electrocuted and 9 lives. The advertising at the time trying to convince you that ever-ready batteries will outlast normal batteries by up to 9 times. We'll see how many lives they have left shortly. We also get 8 9V PP3 batteries, which all look incredibly alluring and comfortable in their foam packaging. Clearly there's enough here to assist with a whole classroom of activities. Alongside our power, there's also some PP3 battery connectors, a bundle of 9 red LEDs, 6 standard bulbs, a roll of insulating tape, a handful of transistors, a coil of red and black wire, a handful of switches, a mechanical sample CPU. Now earlier kits had 486 and Pentium processors, although I believe this one is a Pentium with MMX technology, which is nice. Although it clearly states in the guide not to use this in an actual PC, as it will probably damage it. So these are likely processor rejects. We get a couple of loose diced chips as well, so students can hold them up close and really get a feel for how tiny the circuitry is. The red dots on these indicate they have failed their reliability tests. But not only that, there's also this entire silicon wafer featuring what appears to be 2 processor die slices. It's presented in this plastic surround so it doesn't get smashed to pieces, but the wafer itself is exposed and it's incredibly cool to look at and inspect. Anyway, let's try out a couple of the experiments from the guide. So here's a very basic circuit. All we need is a PP3 battery, a connector and an LED. Now we could just stick the ends of the LED directly on the battery, but let's do what is suggested.
A positive and negative leads to the battery. We should find that the battery is possibly dead. The battery is dead. So, we pop this on a new battery. It's a very faint light, but there is indeed a light there. There we go.
Now maybe let's try using a transistor like the circuit in the video.
I should really solder this, but I don't want to ruin parts of the kit. We will connect the black to the negative terminal on the battery, and as it stands we have no light coming out of the LED. But if we get a round battery and we add a piece of wire, okay, and then we connect the positive end of the battery to the source and the negative end. God, this is difficult. Positive to source, negative to that part of the gate. There we go. Can see the LED lighting up. Lovely job.
And that's really the climax of this kit. Now I'd love to hear from you if you used one of these in school during the 90s. Maybe your teacher took a different approach to proceedings, or maybe they just played the tape like they would have done at my school. Let me know in the comments.
Allow me to interject for just a brief moment while I discuss this video's sponsor, Audible. Now, Audible is a sponsor I really wanted to get because I love it. When I'm sitting here doing these experiments, I listen to Audible. When I'm editing videos, I listen to Audible. I believe listening can motivate, inspire, inform, and enrich your life. So it's a good job that Audible are doing a challenge to start this year. Finish 3 audiobooks by the 3rd of March, which, trust me, isn't difficult, and get a $20 Amazon credit. Listen on any device, anytime, with a 30-day Audible trial. Choose 1 audiobook and 2 Audible originals free. To do this, visit audible.com/nostalgianerd or text nostalgianerd to 500 500. That's audible.com/nostalgianerd or text nostalgianerd to 500 500. I'm kicking off this year with H.G. Wells' The Science Fiction Collection because I really want to get stuck in to some classic sci-fi during 2020. Alexa, play my audiobook H.G. Wells' The Collection.
H.G. Wells' The Science Fiction Collection.
So why not click the link in the description and join me? Let's get back to this.
Blooming heck, I almost forgot about the poster and transparencies. If you were a classroom goer in the 90s, I'm almost certain that you encountered an overhead projector. These allowed you to lay sheets on their lighted bed or even a laptop screen and project the contents onto a wall or whiteboard. The Intel kit comes with quite a few of these overlays, but the magic is really in the processor slices. It's discussed briefly in the teacher video.
You'll find in the chip kit that you have some transparencies. The 4 transparencies will help you with the fabrication part of the chip creating. The 4 layers that are there do not necessarily hook together. We've just kind of pulled them at random.
So although they're not necessarily in any logical order, we can take these 4 sheets and overlay them to create an impression of the multiple layers within a chip, which, if anything, is just a colourful wonder of transparent euphoria. Oh, look at these colours and the transparent plastic sheet. What is it about that I love? I have no idea. But if that wasn't enough, the kit also has some other bits. We've even got the original letter for the school this kit was sent to. Did anyone go to Gateway Baptist School? If so, you clearly missed out on this precious Intel training, and for that I'm sorry. The poster is a masterpiece of childhood wonder, managing to combine some useful information on the fundamentals of a computer with a cross-section that just makes you want to get inside a real machine and start tinkering. It's very reminiscent of a Dorling Kindersley book. Did you know that the air in a chip factory is 1 million times cleaner than the air that we breathe? Haha, facts. There's also a handy timeline at the bottom. It's a very USA-focused timeline, but I guess patriotism. It's all Intel branded anyway, it's all very much commercial, but I love it regardless.
I hope you've enjoyed this video on the journey inside the computer. But there's one thing we haven't discussed, and that's the journey inside by Intel. in IMAX.
With this much computer power, humans will soon be able to cross the critical information threshold.
Humans must never be allowed to cross the threshold.
Yes, this was a feature film made by Intel that went along with this pack, released in 1994, and I think it warrants its own separate video, so stay tuned and we'll take a look into it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great evening.